So next up, for our first panel discussion of the day on aligning cybersecurity initiatives with business objectives, I'd like to start off by welcoming our panel moderator, Mr. Bharat Panchal, who's the Chief of Industry Relations and Regulatory Officer at India Discover Financial Services. Mr. Bharat, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Can you see me now?
Welcome. Yes, and I can hear you loud and clear. And joining him will be our eminent panelist, Mr. Hamid Ali Raja, who will be the head of IT audit from the Gulf Warehousing Company. We also have Mr. Mohammad Razzaq Chishty, who's the head of IT audits from Arab National Bank. We also have Mr. Wasim Parkar, the Senior Manager, Information Security and Compliance at Kuwait Financial Hubs. We have Sachin Kawalkar, who's the Global CISO with Neeyamo. And we have Engineer Hashem Al-Azizi, who's the Cybersecurity GRC Manager with TAQA, the Industrial and Energy Services Company.
Yeah, Hamid is here. Hamid, can you see us, hear us?
Yes, I can see you, Bharat.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we all are here. Well, thank you very much for introduction to the panel and welcome to all my fellow participants and panelists and sorry, ladies and gentlemen, those who are watching us. It's a great gathering here, though we are from different countries, different culture. But what we are going to talk about the common agenda about the cybersecurity. And when we are talking about cybersecurity, it is a borderless, it is a cross-border and invisible, but it is giving equal amount of pain for be it any shop business, be it any shop nation. So therefore, we have great panel here, and I'm sure that at the end of this discussion, the entire topic what we are going to cover in today's discussion will enlighten you on a couple of things. Definitely, one is one of the important aspect about the technology resiliency, which is most critical dependency in today's time as far as your business is concerned. The second thing is about the cybersecurity and data protection, because in earlier session we heard Deepak was talking about how critical data is in our life and in business. So therefore, data is going to drive the economy, or rather already started data-driven economy. That is a word which is already coined. And last but not least, about the future of compliance, because when we are talking about regulation around business, one important aspect comes that how are we going to comply with the security challenges, and especially when a technology is embedded, the cybersecurity is inevitable. And therefore, the today's session, I would like to start with let me straight go to Razzaq Chishty. Sir, let me ask you first. What is the objective of implementing cybersecurity in a business, or what is the need of having cybersecurity as a part of a business strategy? Razzaq, can you please start through your comments, please? I think there is some small confusion. I think Razzaq has not be able to connect or what. Just a minute. Big Ed, can you please check if Razzaq is there? Okay, we'll wait for him to connect. But again, that does not get away the significance of the security as a challenge. And therefore, let me bring in my other participant, other fellow panelist, Hamid. Okay, Hamid, can you please cover what is the objective of implementing cybersecurity, and how you see as as a leader, how you see business is aligned with the cybersecurity?
Yes. Basically, the basic purpose of implementing cybersecurity is to protect your organization from cyber attacks. Very simple concept, very simple objective. Now, once you implement cybersecurity, basically you are protecting your information, you are protecting your assets, and you are protecting your customers and overall organization, right? Now, the next thing is like how you, as a cybersecurity leader, like how you act as a cybersecurity leader or a person who is responsible to implement cybersecurity in an organization. Now, to me, the cybersecurity should be in line with the business goals. Okay, if cybersecurity has to be effective, it has to be aligned with the business goal. Now, to get the business and cybersecurity to work together, the security team must tell the business how safe we are and what our level of security risk is. Now, to answer this question, I always talk about business context. Most of the time, the security is measured in terms of risks, threats, weaknesses, without taking in account the business context. Now, what is business context? Basically, the business context is understanding the most important or the most critical business assets. Okay, what and their importance, right? Now, any calculation of security risk without considering the business assets value or the criticality, to me, is incomplete, wrong, or inadequate. Now, to understand how the business works, how the business operates, security leaders like the cybersecurity leaders or the cybersecurity team, they cannot work in isolation. They need to understand, the business, right? And for that, they need to have a strategic alignment between the business and them. So, to me, right now, most of the organizations, they don't do this sort of alignment between business and the information security or cybersecurity. Now, the first thing that a cybersecurity leader should do is that he has to make the business leaders understand that the responsibility of cybersecurity risks belongs to the business, not the cybersecurity team. We are the executors, right? Now, cybersecurity to me is a business topic. It's a business goal. It's a business objective with a strong technology component. Now, a security leader must understand and able to report on security and risk posture of an organization. This is my responsibility as a cybersecurity leader, that I should be able to report the security exposure or the security posture or risk posture of the organization, right? Now, I should be able to understand the return on investment on all the security initiatives, and I should be able to explain this to my management or the business champions, right? Now, for that, I should be equipped with a well-defined process that I can implement, and the same process I should have a benchmark where I can, continuously improve it. Okay.
Great.
Now,
So,
to sum up, sorry.
yeah, please.
Yeah, to sum up my answer, to me, there are some steps a security leader should take. First of all, he should understand the organization business goals and objectives, understand how those business goals affect technology decisions, work with the business to make sure that cybersecurity fits into the business context,
Sure.
and then prioritize cybersecurity processes by finding gaps, and then use a benchmark standard to communicate with business stakeholders. This is very important because then it will make sense to the business people. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. I think, Hamid, it was indeed a great detailed explanation about the role of leadership. But now Razzaq has joined, and Razzaq, the question what I wanted to ask you that, what is the objective of implementing cybersecurity? I mean, but the fundamental question that why cybersecurity is to be given so much of emphasis in your business.
Yeah, thank you very much for this very important question, and it's the fundamental for all this discussion that we will have in this panel. So for me, sometime the answer will be different if you will ask it from a business executive or if you ask it from an information security executive. From information security point of view, normally we see the cybersecurity threats, risks, and then we try to have the countermeasures against those. And for those, definitely some investment is required from the business side. But if you ask this question from business side, normally they just say because it is a regulatory requirement or because InfoSec guys want to have it, that's why we are having. So the gap is they need to understand that cybersecurity is a business enabler. The cybersecurity will enable their business to grow more or to make more revenue if it will be aligned with the business objective. But normally business executives consider it, or they have a false perception that cybersecurity is something which will resist the growth of business, or which will put some limits in front of the business new ventures or something. So to to take an example, in nowadays cybersecurity becomes more relevant because there are huge transformation, including cloud adoption, and then automation, machine learning, big data analysis. All these technologies are being used by most of the businesses, and any business who is not adopting these advanced technologies, they are not in the competition of their competitors. So
Great.
by this all new advancements, and especially in the last 2 years during the pandemic, it has been observed that all organizations have to transform their processes to digitize them, and digitization happen. And all these technologies come up with their own cyber security risks. So that's why, because if you're adopting all these new technologies, you have to consider the all the threats or all the risks that are coming with those. And for that,
Great.
cybersecurity as well as the business leadership have to be on the same page, and they have to you can say
Align with each other.
exactly, to recognize
Yeah.
that cybersecurity is there to enable them to grow the business. And
No, but
if
Razzaq, I think you made very important point that cybersecurity is a business enabler, and let me pick up from there and let me
Sure.
go to Wasim. Wasim, can you please tell us that why in what form it is a business enabler? Because again, Hamid said it is a business risk, right? And Razzaq is also saying it's a business enabler. Is there real parameter by which you can prove that yes, it is a business enabler, it's not a roadblock? Can you please
Yes.
throw your views on that?
Thank you, Bharat. As the other panelists said, currently what is happening is most of the organizations see cybersecurity, or cybersecurity initiatives as, something from the control function, from the regulatory perspective, or it's something, a cost center to the business. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, first of all, business team and security team needs to work together, collaborate together, to achieve the objective of the organization. Now, of course, this can be done by, both teams coming together. Information security team should need to understand what are the business objective, what type of the business organization is doing, and based on that, they can basically help the business to achieve their objective. Now, one of the key examples, since this we are talking about the cloud adoption and these kind of discussions, so one of the example I would say is about the cloud adoption as well. So in this region especially, there is big reluctance on adopting the cloud based solution, and one of the reason is about the data residency issue. Okay, whether
Naturally.
my information will be secure or not secure. So here information security
And I believe those issues are legitimate when it comes to your data, how safe my data is, and
yes,
whether it is kept as I wish. So that's
yes.
important, the legitimate concern as well.
Yes, absolutely. And this is where, information security team needs to come into the picture, or cyber security team come into the picture, where they have to ensure, all the data that is being moved to the cloud, the way it is stored, processed, and it is done in the secure manner.
So
Information
overall
security.
governance around that. Overall governance around that.
Yes, exactly. And information security team need to ensure, that they do the due diligence and they give business an assurance that, okay, whatever services we are taking are secure and you can use these services without any challenges or any security
Great.
issues. So this way, information security can help the business to adopt to the newer technology. This is just one of the example for the cloud. The same goes for other technologies such as AI based technologies or robotics, any new technologies that you are trying to adopt.
Great, good answer, good explanation, Wasim. And but for me, what I understand that the one hand there's a technology, one hand there's a security, and one hand there's a business. So the conversion among all three components is very crucial. Unless you put right governance, right framework around it, your objective may not be fulfilled. So therefore, let me invite Hashem Azizi. Sir, can you please throw your views about how to converge the business goal, the and security, and bringing everything under single framework by which we can, a business can attain the objective what is needed. Yeah, Hasim, you are on mute, I think. Extremely sorry, there is some technical glitch. Give us a few seconds. Hasim is trying to unmute. Oh, yes. Anyway, he'll be back definitely, and let's save some time for Sachin because I know he has to rush somewhere. But anyway, while Hashim come back, can you I think Hashim, you're back.
Yes. Hello.
Oh, great. Yes, yeah, we are able to hear you. We are very able to hear you. So, Asim, the question what I was asking you that what is your insight about the overall business strategy and its alignment with the cybersecurity? Because you can't do much of trade off either with the business or with the cybersecurity, right? So,
Yeah.
can you please throw some light about your idea around that governance framework?
Yeah. Thanks, Bharat, for asking this question. So let's start from the top, which is the corporate governance. The corporate governance is the set of responsibilities and practices which are exercised by the board and executive management with the goal of providing strategic direction, ensuring that the objectives are achieved, ascertaining that risks are managed or the risks are managed appropriately, and verifying that the enterprise's resources are used in a responsible manner. So the strategic directions of the business will be defined by business goals and objectives. Now, going further, cybersecurity must support business activities, as my colleagues said, to be of value to the organization. Cybersecurity governance in the final is a subset of the corporate governance, and this culture needs to be instilled in the top management mindset. In my belief, so the cybersecurity governance ensures that the cybersecurity risks are appropriately managed and in comply with the applicable regulations and standards, whether it is adopted, mandatory, or voluntary. So my recommendations with regards into achieving best fit and effective cybersecurity governance, which is properly aligned with the strategic objectives of the organization, is that the management must establish and maintain a comprehensive framework. So the framework is to guide the development and management of a comprehensive cybersecurity program. And by achieving this framework and properly developing its components, I think this will be an excellent step to support the business strategy and the company's objectives. So this framework in turn provides the basis for the development of a cost-effective cybersecurity program that supports the organization's goals.
Excellent, Asim. I think you have given excellent insight about the conversion of all three components as a part of the governance. But when it comes to on putting on whiteboard or blackboard, yes, it looks always good as a strategy. But when you have to really implement and you have to integrate with other framework, technology comes and play a major role. And when we are talking about the privacy and data and all, has become I believe it is most important topic. You go any part of this world, everybody's talking about privacy and data security, especially in cloud. Now it's the time to invite Sachin Kawalkar to throw some idea or some light about how we can integrate such framework. And fortunately or unfortunately, we have plethora of such framework available on this planet. Right now, bringing all this, aligning with the business objective, ensuring security, it's a very tedious job, and that's where Sachin, I want you to give your insight how to handle that situation.
Correct. Thank you so much, Bharat. That's a very great question. See, now a lot of the organizations are moving from on-premise to the cloud. So cloud is now a blend of technologies. And now we have seen that there are a lot of the new innovations which are coming in. Everything is going digitalized. All the data is getting hosted on the cloud. It is a real need that how the cybersecurity component is integrated with cloud, because now cloud is going to be a future. And cybersecurity, yes, it is the new risk and it is going to be there in the system. So we need to make sure that what is the best framework suitable for our environment, suitable for our business, and the integration of all other frameworks or compliances, how we can make it into one, rather than, and as everyone knows that not a single framework or single framework will not suit to everything. So we need to make sure that what are the critical components of cybersecurity or of our cloud, which will suffice the requirement of all other standards. Because regulation,
Correct.
yes, it is mandatory. For a business to grow, yes, you have the SOC and so many ISO certifications, PCI DSS, HIPAA, so many other certifications are required and mandated. So we need to make sure that how we are integrating this, how the cost benefit analysis can be done, how optimization can be done, so that one framework will make sure that at least the risk component has been taken care, and which will again ultimately saving the cost. Because a lot of the organization, they have multiple frameworks, which probably might be a duplication, but that integration we need to do, and probably we need to come up with a dashboard which is a need of a business, and safeguarding the ultimate data which is on our cloud. So this cloud and this cyber security will go always hand in hand, and which needs to be taken care. Yeah.
Excellent, Sachin. It's great insight. But when it comes to aligning with or integrating such framework, there is a need of strategy, and definitely such strategy is more towards aligning with the cybersecurity teams, with business and security alignment and with the right direction. So I want to invite again Razzaq, Chishty to give some insight about how one can align the strategy with the cybersecurity team, where the business and security both hand in hand get together, align with each other in the right direction.
Yeah.
What strategy you will put?
Yeah, sure. Thanks again for asking this very interesting question. As per my you can say practice and my hands-on experience within the organizations, what I suggest as a best strategy is, first of all, everyone need to create a culture of cybersecurity within business, and from being cybersecurity experts, we need to take a lead. So overall, human is the weakest link in all the cybersecurity chain. So this thing is must. We start with the establishing security culture within the organization. Everyone should think about achieving the business objective and the related cybersecurity hurdles and how to overcome those. Second thing is, we should not treat cybersecurity as an afterthought or as a end goal. It should always be a prerequisite for any new business objective. Cybersecurity should be considered as a prerequisite, where cybersecurity experts will sit with the business leaders, and they will identify, okay, to achieve this business goal, we may have these cybersecurity related risks, and how to come up with different solutions for those. So the cybersecurity team should be take on board as early as possible, even before the start of any other business thinking or feasibilities or such things. So when the cybersecurity will become an enabler, when it will become early, it will adopt early within the team overall, even the thinking stage. Second thing is, as a cybersecurity professionals, we also have to do some extra efforts to understand the business objectives in and out. So because if we will understand what businesses want to achieve, we will definitely help them in a better way to identify the related cybersecurity issues and how to overcome those. So it's from the both side, and especially as a cybersecurity experts, we should not consider cybersecurity as an end goal. End goal is always to achieve the business objectives. We should always work as a support function, but to help them to achieve the business goal. For example, for any business, let's take an example. If the business is selling some item, and we just want to enable them with the cybersecurity for the sake of security, it will not work. But first we have to we have to understand what is the business objective. If they want to grow their sales over the new adoption of technologies, then cybersecurity will help them to achieve that goal by following those cybersecurity best practices, by adopting some cybersecurity frameworks or whatever is suitable for them. And then it will be it will be a right direction towards the alignment of both streams, cybersecurity as well as the
Right.
business objectives.
Right. Razzaq, I like one point you mentioned that, security is not something like afterthought. And I 100% agree. Not only me, everybody on this, session must agree on this part, that security and quality, these are the two things which you can't add as a, layer on icing on the cake, because you can't get either of these if it is not made part of the day one journey. When you start, conceptualizing about a business, you have to keep security in mind. But that's very, very important. But I'm coming back to Hashem, where he said about the framework. Now, if we have to achieve certain goal, and as you rightly, Razzaq, you said about adding security right from the beginning, how we can align that with the framework. And before that, Hashem, can you please tell us what kind of component you may look forward as a part of that framework, which can align business objective as well as security objective together?
Thanks, Bharat,
Yep.
Thanks, Bharat, for asking this exciting question. I would actually split the framework components into 4 primary components. First, it should contain a comprehensive strategy, which is intrinsically aligned with the business objectives. The second component, which is the security policies that address each aspect of the strategy, containing the controls, the regulations, and the standards and procedures as well. The third, which is an effective security organizational structure with sufficient authorities and adequate resources. So when we say resources, we mean people, technologies, budget, tools, time and dedication. All of these are considered adequate resources. And the fourth, which is the last, is performance metrics and monitoring processes to ensure compliance and providing feedback on the implemented controls and its effectiveness. So these metrics will provide feedback to the top management in order to let them make the best and suitable decisions.
Superb. Thank you, Hashem. And I think we have come right from the first question till your answer. We have found the threat, the vulnerabilities, challenges, alignment, this and that. But eventually, when it comes to business, it's stuck at investment, because that's where the leaders are thinking about the return on investment, right? So where is the value chain, or where you are able to align your return on investment? So let me invite Hamid Raza. Hamid, can you please tell us how to ensure that cybersecurity alignment effort deliver value to the business, or I would say in a different way, that where you can exhibit that yes, the investment you have made on security, that is paying off well?
Yeah. So the question is nice, but most of the part of this question is already covered by Razzaq and a bit by Hashem. But anyways, I will add to it that, as I already said, that we cannot achieve cybersecurity goals and objectives without business alignment, right? So we need to make sure that our business leaders understand cybersecurity, because we are experts, right? We are cybersecurity experts. We need to make them aware of the cyber risks, the strategic options available to manage them, and then we have to implement solutions to address them. Now, most of the time, though, what happens is the information security team or the cyber security team, they just start implementing solutions without aligning that with the business context. Now, for a cybersecurity program to work, you want a buy-in, right? You want a buy-in from your management. So business and cyber leaders, they need to talk about it. And to me, there are certain steps to it, right? Now, first of all, you implement basic security measures to protect an organization from common threats. Let's say, in recent times, we had an issue that we were getting a lot of spam emails. We started getting a lot of spam emails. So we implemented 2-factor authentication on our Office 365. So it gives a confidence to the business, okay, there is something like cybersecurity, there is something like we can do about stopping these phishing emails or spam emails. First of all, implement basic security measures to protect an organization from common threats. Now, secondly, a step ahead, you have to understand the business strategy and define the potential inherent risks which with each strategic objective the organization has, right? And then implement, identify and implement the security measures to reduce, mitigate, or transfer those risks, right? Now, and this is my message to everybody, like, time to implement cybersecurity program or cybersecurity initiative is now. You have to get up, you have to lead, engage people, your business team. Then you have to define roles for your people, like in your cybersecurity team, information security team, IT team, and in your business, and tell them to own their roles, right? And then you set up a baseline for your cybersecurity framework, and then you do the benchmarking and start measuring and improving it. So this is my thing where we can deliver value to the business. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Hamid. It was, though you said that you already people have spoken, but you brought a different perspective. So thanks for bringing a novel idea about that. But somebody asked me about that. How do you measure revenue return on investment in security? I said you are not hacked so far, and you are safe so far. That itself is a certificate of what we invested is what in security. But Wasim, you said that security is a cost center somewhere, right? But for everything there's a limit. How much you will invest, where you will invest, and how meaningfully you will invest, right? So can you please throw some light about how important to invest in cybersecurity initiative for our organization for their business objective? Because there is X amount of total revenue or budget will be allocated for security. Will it be enough or will it be too much?
Yes, so good question, Bharat. First of all, as all of us agreed, cybersecurity is considered, as very crucial element. Okay, regardless of the industry, what you are working in, whether it is into banking, telecom, or retail, most of the businesses are now going towards the digitization, especially post-COVID or during the COVID, and all the day-to-day activities are performed using the IT systems. So it is very important to secure this information because a single data breach can lead to losses in millions. It's not just limited to usually business teams or some teams thinks like it is only about the financial loss. No, but it is not something limited to financial loss. One of the key aspects to think about when you are investing in the cybersecurity is about building the customer trust. One breach, if you lose the customer trust, you can be out of the business. You can face different legal lawsuits, you can face regulatory penalties depending on the area of the business you are doing. So,
and most importantly, you will lose your reputation overnight.
Exactly.
One breach is good enough.
Exactly. So investing in the cybersecurity initiative is a very wise decision, which can, help your organization basically save millions, depending on the how big is your business, and to protect your brand, from the embarrassment that you will get because of the breach. Now, the key things what I see is, if you need to business buy-in and to show them, how by investing in the cybersecurity will boost the customer trust and the brand awareness about your brand, will definitely help you to get the required investment. Other than the normal threats, which are like protection against the different cyber attacks and these things, as well as this will also help to increase the productivity of the organization, because when we talk about the cyber security is not only about the data breaches, it is also about the availability of the data. So being the systems available all the time, will also help the organization increase the productivity of the organization overall. So all these points in mind, it is very important to invest in the cybersecurity. Yes, as you said, but whether the investment is more or less, this we need to have appropriate KPI measurements available, where you can see the return of investment on these security initiative, and based on these measurement, definitely you can get the required investment from the business side, which is required to protect their assets.
Good. I think it was very great insight about how one should invest meaningfully in security, and of course the pitfall of if not investing in security. Both are very well covered, Wasim. But we are in the era of always on, and everybody wants to get connected with the virtual world at any moment of time, be it services or be it banking or anything. Especially the country where I'm coming from, India, we have UPI. I'm sure you might have heard about the Unified Payment Interface, where we are having 6-7 billion transactions a month. Now, when there's a plethora of requirement of secure, not only security but the IT infrastructure and all this, that need for PCP and DR, I think this is one of the great demand generation area where people want no gap. It has to be seamless, even in any situation. Hamid, I want your expert advice on how it is important to invest on BCP and DR. And with that, do you see that the current investment is good enough to have, the second site, maybe PR or DR or somewhere at the HA high availability? Is it meaningful to invest in that part?
Yes. Now you asked the return on investment question. So I just want to add a little bit on it that, let's say you imagine an incident if a website is down for like 1 hour and a company loses 1 million in 1 hour. So it means that, you can take that incident and see if that incident happens quarterly or yearly once, you have 1 million as your budget, So you can take that cost to get the budget approval and all. But as you asked about the DR and the BCP thing, I think, it's a very tricky question, because DR and BCP are the tools that are capable of protecting your business. But if you do proper risk identification and then you assess all your infrastructure components adequately, and then I will come again to my business context that it is understood. Now, after that, you come to the design and implementation of the DR and BCP plans, right? Now, I have seen people, they put a lot of effort in designing and implementing the DR and BCP plans, but then they don't test them and they don't continuously update or, improve them, So first of all, here comes the role of IT information security officer or a risk officer who independently should report to the CEO, not to the IT head. And he should, ensure the business that, all your DR and BCP plans are working effectively and they're tested and evaluated, right? Now, a general BCP plan, as per my understanding and my experience, first of all, you have to identify the scope, right? Then you have to identify the key business areas. Then within the key business areas, you have to identify the critical functions. Because if you do for everything, the cost will be too high. And it will be too difficult to get the required approvals. So once you identify your critical business areas, critical functions within the business areas, then you define dependencies between these areas and functions. And then for each function and business area, you determine the acceptable downtime. And after that, you create the plan, right? Now comes to the disaster recovery plan, the DR plan. Now, I have seen, people working on the DR plan, but they don't, like most of the time, or the probability is that they don't do the business impact analysis. They don't define their RTOs and RTOs, they don't do their risk assessment. And then first, they don't establish priorities, So first of all, you have to define your RPOs, RTOs, you have to do your business impact analysis, then you do your risk assessments, then establish priorities. Then make sure that once the disaster hit, when you have to do this disaster recovery activity, you have adequate resources, right? Then, you choose the right data center for your DR site. It should not be like your the production data center is on the first floor and the DR data center is on the second floor. It will not work. Then you have to think beyond data, because when I ask somebody like, how's your DR plan? No, we keep backing up our data. No, data backup is not the DR. You have to think beyond data. You have to think about your licensing. You have to think about your internet connections, and there are so many things to
Mostly it must be in sync. It must be sync in what you are having in production. More or less, it should be in sync. Maybe not exact capacity in terms of the space and memory.
And that's what I said. You have to identify the critical business areas and functions. So at least your critical, like let's say your company is an e-commerce company. So your main, the website that sells your goods, it should have duplicate DR on another site. So your Office 365 or your email may wait, but your e-commerce website should be 100% up and running. And then you have to test, validate your DR and BCP plans regularly. This is the best thing you can do.
Thank you, Hamid. It was very well elaborated component you covered at last of the discussion. But before we wrap up, I would request Hashem, Razzaq, and Wasim, just one liner from your side before we end up this discussion. What is a big takeaway from today's discussion for those who are attending this conference on the security requirement versus the business objective? Hashem, you first, please.
Thank you, Bharat. So I would suggest one sentence or one statement: no more working in silos. Cybersecurity shall not be working in silos, not anymore. Cybersecurity should be a priority, and it is a cooperative efforts between cybersecurity and the other business departments.
Super. Thanks, Hashem. You covered very well. Razzaq, from your side, sir.
Yeah, I just would like to emphasize on the same thing that I already explained. So we should try to establish the security culture throughout the department. Security is not the only responsibility of information security or IT department. It's a concern of whole department, whole organization, and there should be a security culture and more security awareness should be developed within the organization. Then only the alignment of both sides will be work. And as I already said, we should not consider cybersecurity as a afterthought or something or a showstopper. It should be considered as a prerequisite as well as it should be work as an enabler to the business.
Thank you. Wasim?
Yes, I think both of them have covered it very well. I would say in one line, information security needs to become a business enabler rather than a control function or a regulatory function, which is just to ensure the compliances to various information security requirements. And we have to make business realize that information security is everyone's responsibility, which is very critical, in ensuring, we have the business buy-in for information security and cybersecurity related initiatives.
Excellent. So all the eminent speakers said one-liner. So I could not resist myself also to give one-liner. In Hindi, we say roti, kapda, or makan are basic necessity. The food, cloth, and shelter are basic necessity. We are at the point of no return. The way we are using the IT in our life. Day by day, we are coming in the cage of IT, and therefore, roti, kapada, makan, and cybersecurity are going to be a basic necessity of our life. So thank you very much for very super and very insightful discussion with all of you. I'm sure that there are a lot of takeaways for those who attended, and I'm 100% sure that they all are benefited with your vast knowledge about cybersecurity. With that, we bring this discussion at end, and really glad to see all of you in person. I mean, virtual world, of course, but I'm sure that this will create a lot of momentum wherever people are, watching us for the great witnesses. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bharat. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bharat, for leading this wonderful discussion. And thank you to all our panel members, Mr. Wasim, Mr. Mohammad Razzaq, Mr. Hamid, Mr. Hashem Ali, and also Mr. Sachin, who dropped off a little earlier.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you very much. Thanks.